The sky over the city was bright and clear, just like any other morning. People were going about their day, some rushing to work, others waiting for the school bus. But then, something appeared in the sky that made everyone stop. At first, it looked like a small star, but it grew bigger and brighter, moving too fast to be a plane or a satellite. News stations began broadcasting live. Scientists and astronomers were baffled. No one had ever seen anything like this. The shape was strange, smooth and silver, reflecting the sunlight in a way that made it hard to look at. And then, it stopped in the sky, hovering silently above the tallest skyscrapers. Panic spread quickly. People began calling their loved ones, some screaming, others crying. The military was mobilized immediately, jets taking off and radar screens flashing red. But nothing they tried could reach it. No signal, no sound, nothing. The city streets filled with people staring upward, unable to look away. And then, it came. A single figure descended from the ship. She was unlike anything anyone had seen before. Tall, elegant, and glowing faintly in the sunlight. Her eyes shone like molten gold, and her skin had a subtle shimmer, almost like it was made of light. People could not look at her for long without feeling a strange mixture of fear and awe. The alien woman spoke, her voice calm, smooth, and clear, echoing across the city without a microphone. Everyone could hear her. Everyone stopped what they were doing. "I have chosen a human as my prize," she said. Her words were simple, but the meaning was impossible to ignore. "The one I have chosen will come with me." Silence followed. Then chaos. News cameras zoomed in, capturing every reaction. Children clung to their parents. Soldiers stood frozen. Scientists shook their heads, unable to believe what they had just heard. And then the announcement came: the chosen human was an ordinary man named Daniel Harper. Daniel was nothing remarkable. He worked in a small bookstore, lived alone in a modest apartment, and spent his evenings reading science fiction novels. He had never imagined that one day, his life would be the center of a global spectacle. The alien woman descended slowly, her feet hovering just above the ground. Daniel could feel the air change around her, charged with energy that made his hair stand on end. He looked around and saw the faces of thousands staring at him through cameras and windows. They were all waiting for something terrible to happen. But the alien woman did not attack. She did not speak to him again. She simply reached out a hand, glowing slightly, as if inviting him to follow. Daniel felt a strange pull, almost like his body wanted to obey, but his mind screamed for him to run. Suddenly, there was movement in the crowd. Military officers tried to step forward, their guns raised. Scientists tried to communicate, shouting into radios. But she ignored them all. It was as if she existed on a different level, one that no human could touch. Daniel hesitated for only a moment before stepping forward. Something inside him, a mix of fear and curiosity, drove him toward her. And the moment his hand touched hers, the world seemed to shift. A bright light surrounded them both, and the crowd gasped. When the light faded, Daniel and the alien woman were gone. The ship rose slowly, hovering for a moment as if observing the chaos below. Then it shot upward at impossible speed, disappearing into the sky. People stared at the empty air, unsure whether to cheer, cry, or run. Governments declared emergencies. Scientists scrambled to analyze the event, but all data from the area was gone. Satellites recorded nothing unusual after the ship left. The world had only one fact: a human had been taken, and no one knew why. As the day turned into night, questions spread like wildfire. Why did she choose Daniel? Was it random? Was it punishment, or reward, or something else entirely? Rumors filled the internet, ranging from the ridiculous to the terrifying. Some claimed she was a goddess, others said she was a collector of humans for experiments. Daniel's friends and neighbors could only watch in disbelief. He had always been quiet, unassuming, and ordinary. Now, he was the center of a cosmic mystery that no one could understand. Back aboard the alien ship, Daniel found himself in a room that seemed alive. The walls shifted colors softly, the floor felt almost liquid under his feet, and the air smelled faintly sweet, like a forest after rain. He looked around, trying to make sense of it all. The alien woman observed him silently. She did not speak, but Daniel felt her studying him, as if she were searching for something hidden deep inside him. A mix of fear and fascination filled him. What did she want from him? Why had she chosen him and no one else? Hours felt like minutes, and minutes felt like hours. Daniel could hear faint hums, almost musical, coming from the walls. Shadows moved in ways that made no sense. And all the while, the alien woman watched. Back on Earth, the world waited. News channels broadcasted theories, leaders held emergency meetings, and ordinary people slept uneasily, wondering what would happen next. The mystery of Daniel Harper and the alien woman became the story of the century. And one thing was certain, nothing would ever be the same again. Humanity had been reminded that the universe was bigger, stranger, and far more powerful than anyone had ever imagined. No one understood why the alien woman had chosen Daniel. Not the scientists, not the military, not the governments. But one thing was clear, the answers would not be simple, and the truth could change humanity forever. When Daniel opened his eyes, the world he knew was gone. He was no longer on Earth. The room around him shimmered like liquid glass, flowing with colors that changed every second. Yet, somehow, the floor beneath his feet felt solid. Shapes moved along the walls, shapes that made no sense, twisting and bending like living shadows. He blinked repeatedly, trying to understand, but his mind refused. The alien woman stood before him, perfectly still. Her eyes glowed faintly, golden and bright, like molten stars. Even without moving, she seemed alive in a way that Daniel could feel in his chest. The air around her thrummed with energy, vibrating faintly like the low notes of a distant drum. "Where am I?" Daniel finally whispered. His voice sounded small and fragile, even to him. The alien woman tilted her head, not in confusion, but as if listening to something he could not hear. Then, she extended her hand again. Daniel hesitated. Fear screamed inside him to run, but something deeper, curiosity, wonder, maybe even destiny, made him step forward. They moved together through corridors that seemed alive. Walls stretched, floors shifted, and light flowed like liquid. Daniel saw creatures moving silently in the distance. They were like nothing he had ever imagined, tall, thin beings with shimmering skin, some floating in the air as if gravity did not exist, others with eyes like glowing crystals. Yet none of them came close. They simply watched, silent observers of his strange journey. Daniel tried to understand why he had been chosen. He replayed every ordinary moment of his life, his quiet bookstore, his love of old novels, his lonely evenings searching for a clue. Had it been a hidden talent? Something in his DNA? Or simply luck? But the answer remained just out of reach. The alien woman led him to the heart of the ship, a chamber unlike anything Daniel had ever seen. The room was massive, circular, and glowing with soft, pulsing light. In the center floated a platform that seemed to hover on nothing. As Daniel stepped onto it, the platform shifted slightly, almost as if it recognized him. Then, the walls and air around him began to shimmer. Images appeared, floating in midair like holograms. Daniel gasped. He saw distant stars and planets, alien cities, civilizations, and battles fought light years away. Strange creatures negotiated, built, and explored worlds. He saw technology beyond anything human science could comprehend. The visions moved and changed too fast for him to fully understand, but one thing was clear, the universe was vast, strange, and alive. The alien woman's voice echoed inside his mind rather than through his ears. Calm, distant, but powerful. "You carry something rare, human," she said. "Something your kind does not fully understand." Daniel swallowed hard. Me? What could I possibly carry? His voice trembled with fear and confusion. Her gaze softened, glowing brighter for a moment. Something that can change the balance of life. Something your people will need, whether they know it or not. Daniel's mind raced. Was he part of a test? An experiment? Or a gift to humanity? Every theory seemed more impossible than the last. As he tried to process, the platform beneath him began to hum. soft vibrations traveled through his body. He realized the ship was reacting to him, reading him. It wasn't just the alien woman who was observing, the ship itself seemed alive, aware of him in a way that made his head spin. Meanwhile, back on Earth, humanity was in chaos. Governments declared emergency sessions. Scientists scrambled to send messages, but none were answered. Satellites scanned the skies, but the alien vessel had vanished. People waited, watched, and speculated. Every theory seemed wilder than the last: psychic abilities, secret genetics, interstellar diplomacy, even cosmic punishment. But no one had proof, and the mystery only deepened. Inside the ship, Daniel was led to a new chamber, darker this time, lit by soft glows coming from the floor. The alien woman gestured, and a console-like structure appeared, filled with symbols and lights he could not comprehend. As he stepped closer, the lights reacted to his movements. The ship was teaching him, testing him, communicating in a way he didn't yet understand. He noticed something else: the alien woman never touched him roughly, never forced him to do anything. Every action was voluntary, guided subtly by her presence. And yet, Daniel felt that refusing her guidance would have been impossible, as if the pull between them and the ship was stronger than his will. Hours passed, though Daniel had no way of knowing. Every moment felt stretched, layered, and heavy with meaning. And then, for the first time, the alien woman spoke aloud. "You will soon understand why you were chosen," she said. "Not by chance, not by accident. Your courage, your curiosity, your mind, they are rare. But there is more. Something within you the universe has been waiting for." Daniel felt a chill. But why me? There are billions of humans. Why choose an ordinary man like me? Her eyes softened, glowing warmly. "You are not ordinary. You simply have yet to see what you carry inside." For the first time, Daniel understood that this was not punishment. He was not a prisoner, though he felt trapped. This was something bigger: a chance, a responsibility, a connection to a universe far larger than Earth. And yet, the fear remained. Could he survive what was coming? Could humanity survive what was coming? The alien woman gestured again, and a vision appeared. Daniel saw his home city from space, tiny and fragile. He saw humans, millions of them, watching, waiting, unaware of the forces shaping their future. And then he saw himself, not as a man in a bookstore, but as someone who could influence far more than he had ever imagined. The message was clear: the fate of more than just Daniel's life rested in the choices he would make. But the details remained hidden, the reason unknown, the suspense unbearable. And so, Daniel took a deep breath and followed her deeper into the ship. Every step was filled with wonder and fear. Every moment tested his courage, his patience, and his mind. And outside, humanity waited. They were watching, guessing, afraid, completely unaware that their future, and the future of their species, depended on the ordinary man who had been chosen as a prize by an extraordinary alien woman. Daniel would soon discover the truth about why he had been chosen, but the answer would not be simple. Every vision, every test, every moment on the ship was part of a plan far larger than he could imagine. And when the reason was finally revealed, it could change everything: humanity, the universe, and himself. Daniel had walked deeper into the alien ship than he ever imagined possible. The corridors seemed endless, bending and twisting like the inside of a living organism. The ship hummed softly beneath him, and every step he took felt significant, as if the floor itself was judging him. The alien woman led him into a massive chamber at the very center of the ship. It was unlike anything Daniel had seen before. The walls glowed with shifting light, showing constellations he didn't recognize. Floating structures twisted in the air like ribbons, defying gravity and logic. In the center of the chamber stood a pedestal of pure light, and on it hovered a small, crystal-like object that pulsed softly, almost like a heartbeat. Daniel stepped closer, his curiosity stronger than his fear. "What is this?" he asked. The alien woman's eyes shone brighter. "This is what you carry within you. Something rare, something unique to your species. Something the universe has been waiting for." Daniel's heart pounded. Me? What could I have that matters so much? She extended her hand, and as Daniel placed his hand near the crystal, he felt a surge of energy flowing into him. Memories, images, and knowledge that were not his own flooded his mind. He saw humans interacting with distant worlds, sending messages and signals that had reached parts of the galaxy he had never dreamed existed. He saw civilizations struggling, falling, and rising again, all connected by something invisible but powerful. "You carry a genetic trait," the alien woman explained. "One that allows your species to survive forces that could destroy life across planets. You are the first human capable of a connection with life beyond Earth, a link between your world and others in this galaxy." Daniel staggered back, trying to absorb what she said. "So, I'm some kind of key?" "Yes," she said softly. "But not just a key for your survival. A key for your people to prove their worth, their courage, and their intelligence. The universe watches you, Daniel Harper, not as a prize, but as a representative of humanity." The revelation hit him like a storm. He had always thought of himself as ordinary, a simple man with a quiet life. And yet, here he was, standing at the center of a cosmic challenge. He was small, fragile, and human. But in the eyes of the alien species, and the universe beyond, he carried potential that no one else had. Meanwhile, back on Earth, humanity's response was chaotic. Governments debated, scientists theorized, and ordinary people speculated wildly. News channels broadcast every new rumor, every leaked statement, and every theory about Daniel's fate. Some feared for his life. Others believed he had been chosen for some terrible experiment. But none could imagine the truth, that he was not a victim, but a bridge. Daniel spent hours aboard the ship, learning, observing, and growing. The alien woman guided him through lessons that defied human understanding, physics that bent time, mathematics that shaped matter, and lifeforms that communicated through thought rather than sound. Every lesson was a test, a preparation for the moment when he would return to Earth. "You must understand," the alien woman said, "that humanity is young. Your species has strength, creativity, and courage, but you have yet to see your true potential. You will return with knowledge that can inspire your kind. And you will face those who doubt, who fear, and who resist." Daniel nodded slowly. The weight of responsibility pressed on him, but he also felt something else: pride, determination, and hope. He was human. He was ordinary. And yet, he could do extraordinary things. Finally, the alien woman led him back to the central platform. The same glow surrounded him, lifting him into the air. As they left the ship, Daniel looked back one last time. The alien woman's eyes met his, and for a brief moment, he felt a connection, one of respect, understanding, and shared purpose. When Daniel appeared back on Earth, the world erupted in chaos. Crowds gathered, cameras flashed, and government officials shouted into radios. But Daniel stood calmly, his presence commanding attention in a way he never expected. He looked at the people around him, ordinary humans, frightened and awed, and for the first time, he realized the truth: humanity was not small, weak, or insignificant. They were capable of courage, intelligence, and greatness. And he had been chosen not for himself, but to remind them of this fact. The alien woman's ship hovered above, a silent observer. She had returned him safely, not as a pawn, but as a teacher, a messenger, and a symbol. Humanity watched in disbelief as Daniel spoke. "You have seen the universe through my eyes," he said. "And I can tell you this: we are not alone, and we are not powerless. We have the strength, the courage, and the intelligence to face what is coming. We must not fear the unknown. We must rise to meet it." People cheered, some wept, and others simply stared in awe. The world had changed in a single day, and though many did not understand it yet, humanity had been shown a glimpse of its potential. And far above the Earth, the alien woman watched silently. She had chosen wisely. Humanity had met her test, not through violence or fear, but through the courage and spirit of one man, a simple man who had reminded the universe what it meant to be human. Daniel returned to his quiet life, but nothing was ever the same. Humanity had been given a chance, a reminder that they were small, but capable of greatness. And somewhere in the stars, the alien woman waited, knowing that one day, humanity would rise to meet the universe not as prey, but as equals. For Daniel, the journey had ended. For humanity, the real story was just beginning.